Good morning, everybody out there in Twitch TV land, and welcome to the Waystone Games Community Catch-Up. This is the time of the week where we get together and we don't necessarily do gameplay stuff, but we talk about what's going on in development land here at Waystone Games. So my name is Andy Belford. I'm the community manager for Dawngate. We are a brand new MOBA being produced. Somebody's ripping something back there. It's distracting. I heard that. Anyways, and joining me today is Scott Town, who is actually not a systems designer. He's an assistant designer.
I appreciate the promotion right off the bat, but I'm not quite there yet.
Well, so. you know how we roll with job titles here. It's like, what's your job title this week?
I don't know, like fruit expert or something.
Fruit expert. Are we implementing fruit?
Yes, there's going to be like a massive banana implementation in the near future.
Banana's OP.
I'm hoping that people find it appealing.
They are. I thought we were gonna implement like a Fruit Ninja minigame type of thing, where it's like you got to slice with the mouse. Does that work for you?
Oh, that'd be beautiful.
That would be awesome. All right. Anyways, so hey, thank you everybody for tuning in at home today. I know you guys are all super excited to get a sneak peek at what we've been working on. We are going to be revealing a brand new shaper today. That's actually why Mr. Town is here. But we'll talk more about that in just a minute. But before we get started, I do want to go ahead and do the rounds like we normally do with the community. And I wanted to point something out really quickly. First off, if you're just tuning in for the first time, if you are not a follower, a subscriber to the Dawngate subreddit yet, you should be. It's reddit.com/r/Dawngate. 3,400 people, subscribers. Well, they call them shapers there. Strong and growing. You should definitely check it out there. There's some great conversation happening there.
Yeah, absolutely.
The good thing about the subreddit is that it's open to everybody. We tend to keep our forums as kind of a walled garden where we only let people who are actually in the beta in the forums. However, we are equally active on the subreddit as we are on the forums. So
yeah, and it's just nice. It's an interesting, different experience seeing people pop in once or twice or probably a lot more than that a week of some call, and it's like, so what is this game, or can I get a key or whatever else in the subreddit. So.
Absolutely, and of course, as always, major shout out to Venor and crew for running a pretty tight ship over there.
Yeah, no kidding.
So anyways, subscribe over there, and by the way, if you haven't checked it out, there's a really great thread there on the subreddit right now titled Why Dawngate is Changing the MOBA Genre for Better, and I want to make sure that, I'm not pointing this out because we think it's a really kind of shining a very positive light on Dawngate, but I think that it's actually spurning some really great conversation. I mean, there's obviously some disparate viewpoints that are happening in there.
Yeah.
But what I would say is that, this is the kind of conversation that we want, where people are giving, people who are, very positive about Dawngate are expressing that, but also people who are more critical about it are being given the opportunity to do so. And so far, it looks like the conversation's been pretty civil, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. And I am almost more excited when we get discussions like this that are not just glowing praise, because knowing that there's people who care enough that they want to see this improve instead of just saying whatever, or just saying, oh yeah, I guess it's pretty good. That is almost more inspiring.
Yeah, I would say that it's kind of a rule. It's like the community that's talking, even if they're being critical of you, is still better than the community who's not necessarily talking. Because when people aren't talking to you, that memeans they're not invested enough to actually put that effort.
Right, and we're not making something that they feel like is worth caring about.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Alrighty. So, that's one of the threads I would definitely recommend checking out. Of course, if you haven't already, you should follow us over on Twitter. We are at the Dawngate. Follow us at Facebook. Like us on Facebook, I should say, facebook.com/the Dawngate. And of course, subscribe to the channel here. If you haven't already, you get a notification every single time we go live. Sometimes we remember to actually update the broadcast, what we're actually broadcasting. Usually I forget, to be honest with you. It's usually Pluto who does that. But anyway, so follow us here on Twitter, or Twitch, I'm sorry. This is one of the great ways to actually get a beta key. If you're not even in the beta yet, though, definitely go and register for the beta. We got lots of people who are very interested in the beta, obviously. We're happy to see so many people registering every single day. So keep it up. Please register for the beta. Click that little button down there that says Shape the Future of Dawngate. So it's been a pretty cool week in the office here, I would say.
Cool is a good word. Yeah.
Cool is a good word. As you may or may not know, a lot of us here at Waystone Games are what is commonly referred to as nerds. Would you say that's an applicable term?
You don't say.
You don't say.
Nerds in here, really?
Nerds at Waystone Games? What is this all about? And so we actually just Lyra Reed HD. How was Worlds? Worlds was fun. Worlds was good. The show was outstanding. Obviously, the games were leaving something to be desired.
It's kind of a stomp. It was a. You might say it was a stomp.
Yeah, it was a little bit. It was a little bit of a stomp. I mean, what can you do? How do you solve a problem like Korea? Like that. Do you like that?
Wow.
That's right. That's right. Sound of Music. Sound of Music references. Man, I mean, what can you say? Those SKT guys, like it was evident from the first game, they were playing a completely different game than Royal.
Yeah,
so.
Not to say anything poor of Royal by any means. It was just they were just not ready for what, it looked like they were not ready for what SKT was bringing to the table. So.
Question, is there a black version of your A40 tags? Yes, there is. There is. So we have some. We have a few.
It's always short. I could be wearing the black ones. They look so much cooler.
Not with blue. Black and blue?
Okay,
really?
yeah, no, that would look bad. Still,
No. You want the white ones with the blue ones. Anyways, so why did I think we had somebody behind us? It was weird. All right, so anyways, I was going to say, so we actually just started our Magic League here in the studio. Scott's actually been kind enough to kind of officiate or be the commissioner of our Magic League. So what format are we playing?
We are playing sealed on Theros. Just using Theros. And league format is everyone starts with 6 packs, make a deck, you play a week, every week add a new pack. After 4 weeks, we're going to do a draft tournament to finish it out, and to the victor go the spoils.
Ooh, what are the spoils?
Good question.
We haven't figured that out yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Traditionally, it's like more cards, but I guess
Right.
not everyone playing this is someone who plays super actively and just wants to build up a huge collection. So maybe we can find something slightly more interesting. We'll see.
We'll see, yeah. And I have no idea how many people who are watching right now. Somebody just said, when are you putting the beta key on the screen? We'll put the beta key on the screen. If we have enough people to give away multi-use, guys, we'll give away multi-use towards the end of the stream. Right now, we do have Pluto, who is in the chat. He's going to be silently giving away keys, which, by the way, you do need to be following the channel in order to win one of those silent keys. So give the channel a follow. So anyways, Magic is fun. Scott kicked my ass last night.
Yes.
Made me go back to the drawing board, completely redo my deck.
It was an educational process, clearly. It was for your benefit.
It was indeed. For my benefit. That's nice. Thanks. So I'm going from white blue green to white red green.
Right.
We'll see how it works. Anyways, that's enough nerd talk. What do you think? Okay.
I think so.
We'll make sure that we give you guys an update. We'll give you guys an update weekly as to how it's going. I anticipate that Gasty will win everything just because he's Gasty. But, we'll see.
That's kind of the process. It's like everyone makes their own strategies, it's your things. Question marks, Gasty wins.
That's right. Black-white control for life. All right, Organic, we see how it is. It's hard to do black-white control in this set. I'm just going to point that out.
Yeah, it's no extort. We don't have access to that. That's too bad.
All right, so let's talk about new Shaper time. So we are going to be answering. We're going to be having a lot of questions pop up here, and I want to be sure that everybody knows we're going to get to your questions. But it's going to be towards the end. We're going to kind of talk through the new Shaper first, and we're going to show you guys some gameplay stuff, and then we're going to have Scott driving around, kind of showing you guys gameplay stuff, and then we're going to take question and answer towards the end, and we may throw in a few question and answer here and there as we go along. So,
right.
All right. So, brand new Shaper. We're gonna show you guys some concept, and then we're gonna show you guys the reveal of him, and then we're gonna show in game like abilities and stuff like that. So, this is pretty special for you.
This is special for me.
You were just mentioning, why is this Shaper reveal very special for you?
This is my first character and my first full-time design position. This is my first actual legit gig where I am a full-time designer.
So you interned, is that correct? Or
at Riot, that was my first gig period in the industry was as a designer. My degree was at Texas A&M doing mechanical engineering, and as I came close to graduating, I was like, I'm not so sure this is for me. I always wanted to get into games. It just didn't seem feasible when I started college, and so I said, well, what the heck? I was doing contract work at the time and saw an opportunity pop up, sent an application, And I was there. And after working that 5-month internship, I was like, yep, game design, that's what I want to do, 100%.
Okay. So, oh, by the way, I noticed nice Aggie shirt today.
It just happened to be
just
in the wardrobe.
happened to be
yeah.
just like Scott, happens to be wearing USC stuff from time to time. Right? All the time, and what is it you guys say? Is it hook'em horns, something like that, or is it hook'em? What is it? What is it you guys say?
Gig'em.
Get what?
Gig'em.
Gig'em?
Yeah.
What?
It's tradition.
Okay.
It happened twice, so it's tradition.
Okay. Well, no, somebody says he's saying hook'em.
Right, because he's like UT.
He's UT. Oh. That's right. Organic is he does go to Austin. That's right. UTA. Hook'em.
Right.
Okay.
I'll forgive him.
You'll forgive him. All right. Gigamaggies. There we go. Rise Up Gaming. Gigamaggies. Hey, Rise Up. Andy's such a troll. Minx shouting for Aggies. Didn't you? Well, that's like never mind. I'm getting confused. It's a tangent, guys. All right. So, anyways, so first Shaper, very exciting. This is also exciting because this is kind of a new thing for us as far as like Shaper design goes, right?
Yeah, actually.
Okay. And in what way is this new? Would you say?
The biggest ways is that it is the character itself is a significant departure from what we've done with the rest of the characters. I mean, namely that it is not humanoid. Every other character we have is humanoid, human, or something very like it.
Okay.
And this is an interesting opportunity to explore a very different kind of visual archetype, and helping diversify the roster.
All right. And speaking of which, to kind of give you guys an idea, we actually have some concept pieces we're going to show before we show you guys the final product here. So let me go ahead and I'm going to pop over to that. So this is actually some of the early exploration stuff done by, I want to say this was done by either Luke or Will.
See, it's funny because I don't actually know. This is all done before I got here.
Okay. All right. So there's actually an interesting story behind this. So,
right.
So this was your first Shaper, right? But
right.
Originally, what was this guy intended to be?
Well, apparently, the way it went down was he was one of the actual initial few characters that was done when the project was started. Mm-hmm. And the original goal was a similar thing of have him be a distinctly not human creature.
Right.
And his original gameplay role was going to be something along the lines of like a minion master. He was going to have a number of monstrous minions that would follow around.
Okay.
The problem came up that the tech at the time, it just was not in place to allow that kind of gameplay. They didn't have the tools yet to make that work.
Okay.
And so they said they already had art assets made. The model, they had some of the basic animations. Mm-hmm. Before they realized, oh wait, the engine's not set up yet to do this because it's still so early in the project.
Right.
So they put him in the icebox, and he was just kind of, we'll come back to this later when we have the other appropriate tech or whatever else.
Right.
I get here, I'm rookie designer, and they say this is a good opportunity. We can bring him out and move it to a different role to fill a design space that we need more of, in addition to being the original goal of a character archetype or character visual archetype that we don't have yet.
Okay. All right, very cool.
Yeah.
So this is the earlier concept stuff, and it was actually done by Will. Thank you for confirming that, Hunter, and probably Dave. And it's really cool seeing some of the reference materials. We got the little chameleon there, and then some of like the tree frogs and things like that. He is kind of it's definitely so it's quadrupedal, right? And if you actually read the fiction yesterday,
right,
it's very interesting, like seeing kind of like almost like dog-ish, but kind of but it's still obviously very lizard-ish, kind of the cold-blooded looking type of thing.
Right. I think the species is called a frax. They are lizards from the western forest.
A frax. Okay.
Yes, nasty predators.
And then we did continue to explore this a little bit too, and you can see he kind of evolved a little bit more. The eyes are actually like almost like kind of fish-like almost. It looks like.
Yeah, it's honestly it's one of the details that I like the most. In that there's a good degree of intensity there.
Right.
But the fact that they are not just like flat, like black eyes like a doll's eyes, then it makes it seem like there's a little bit more character intelligence to it.
There is definitely. I mean, very. And if you read the fiction, if you read oh gosh, what was the fiction called? Somebody help me.
Foundling.
Foundling. Thank you, Foundling. I don't know why it just like popped out of my head. If you read Foundling, I mean, you actually found out he is somewhat sentient.
Petrus's Vitality Experiment 4.
Petrus's Vitality Experiment 4. Okay.
He was experimenting with shaping on flesh. This is after he had lost his arm. Was trying to find out if there was an interesting way to work around that.
Okay.
And so he did a lot of horrible experiments. And he is not particularly experienced in shaping flesh. He's used to stone, machinery, metals, and so on and so forth. And so some of those experiments ended up pretty sad for Vex.
Okay.
And that is, of course, where the name came from. Vitality Experiment.
So I think that it's funny. A lot of people are making some assumptions right now just based on his look. I'm seeing a lot of people going, "Oh, this guy looks like a really scary melee. I really want to see Zeri's ult go on this guy and things like that."
That's what I'm loving is that it's like everyone's like, "Oh, he looks like X," but it's like there's like 9 different things for X already in the chat. So
yes, it should be interesting to see. So we did notice like going back and forth between that concept and this one. We did see the addition of the spikes and some rather extreme. Like so is there significant behind the spikes and what they're going to be doing?
The spikes come up very much in his gameplay. He is like as a fictional side, he is predatory, but the spikes are very much about standoff. He is not one to just berserk, just charge straight at something. It is a patient kind of game that he has, and the spikes come up a lot in his gameplay, and allowing him to control some distance and just inflict nasty wounds on the things he hits.
Okay, so he is kind of predatory. See what I did there, predator. But seriously though, Blanca, nice. And so we explored this a little bit longer. You can see the different variations on the head there. I really like the fact that we kind of kept that lip ring chain the entire time.
It's a story in and of itself. You just look at that and you're like, ugh, you have immediate implications as to what happened to this guy.
That's right. All right. So, and then we ended up with our final concept piece, and this is the final concept. And this is the closest. We'll show you the in-game render in just a second. You guys saw the teaser yesterday, and I think that like when it comes to looking at a shaper and just getting completely misdirected by it, this guy kind of embodies that. Like I looked at him when I first looked at him, I was like, oh, it's going to be this, and then immediately it was like, nope. Like,
yeah, that was the challenge of it. Is that I guess I should go into where he ended up role wise. In that the decision was that the key spot we wanted some more diversity was actually in the ranged DPS category, because that was all distinctly humans wielding a projectile weapon.
Right.
And so that was the thing, was saying we needed more of those ranged DPS characters, and we wanted this guy in place. And so that was the actual, what proved to be a very difficult challenge, was like, how do you make this character make sense as a ranged DPS?
Okay.
And because he doesn't, he looks nasty, he looks mean, he doesn't necessarily look like the most agile thing in the entire world.
Right.
And so that was actually what I ended up. I went through many iterations of this kit. I'm not about to say that this is a magic inspiration that happened right away. But the final one was, looking at it, of the biggest, like gameplay wise, role we didn't have yet in the ranged DPS was a very low mobility character, someone who is all about a patience and control game until finding the right opportunity to strike, and then just do absolutely unspeakable damage. He is bar none the most damaging character in the entire game.
All right. So without further ado, we are going to be revealing to you our brand new ranged carry. Ready? Drum roll. Here we go. Vex. Oh, wrong game.
Hit the wrong button.
I did hit the wrong button. Sorry, wrong button. There we go. There he is. Vex the Beast. So there he is, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you guys enjoy seeing Vex here. We're going to be showing you some gameplay. We're showing off his abilities right now, and I'm actually going to turn it over to Mr. Scott. Let me do this really quickly, though. Really quickly, guys. The hype train. That's right. The hype train has no brakes. All right, guys, so here we go. We're going to show you guys first ever gameplay. Obviously, we're using dev hacks in this, so Scott's going to do some stuff, some shenanigans.
Really all manner of cheats and stuff to make it run smoother.
Exactly, to level them up and everything like that. But we're going to go ahead and get you into the game with Vex the Beast, and there he is. If you want to do the whole zoom in thing, and then of course we have to show off all the normal stuff that we normally show off with these guys, which is like those taunts and flirts and things like that. But let's get him near folks though. Alrighty, so we are leveling him up really quickly at the moment, guys.
Yep.
And then Scott's going to buy some items. Speaking of
Sure.
which, before we buy the items and everything, could we actually talk about the recommended items for him? Just go ahead and pull up the shop.
Sure. So, recommended item-wise, we'll get to the actual abilities in a second, but he actually scales very, very, very well with haste, better so than the other ranged DPS. However, it is really important to get a good amount of power quickly to take advantage of his very generous power ratios. Otherwise, you'll be hitting very rapidly and not doing very much damage.
Right.
So, destruction makes a lot of sense as his first item. He is also unique in that he has excellent access to both physical and magical damage, and since defense penetration in our game penetrates both the armor and magic resist to the target,
right.
He gets a double dip in a way that a lot of people don't.
Okay.
Beyond that, Fate is an extremely effective item on him. He loves being able to just bombard a team fight once he gets in the right position, and Fate will allow him to easily spread his damage across multiple targets without having to compensate for the lack of mobility that he has.
Okay.
And he also has access to a really nasty on-hit effect, which we'll get to again, that will be propagated by Fate.
Okay.
Ruin is just a great all-rounder offensive item, especially against high-health targets. It's a great choice against most targets, but there's lots of tough ones. Then Ruin's great because of the anti-health, anti-defenses.
And the shred is just...
Oh, it's brutal. There's no tough target that can reasonably stand up to a Vex with a Ruin later in the game, and then the good mix of power, haste, and mastering a single item is just fantastic.
Somebody says this looks like a combination of Pikachu and Stitch from Lilo and Stitch.
Oh God, that's awesome.
I like Garwar's comment. If he's supposed to be Stitch, then Ohana must mean, "Oh my God, it hurts."
That's about right. That's about right. It's the only universal thing for him is that against late game Vex, you don't actually have time to yell "Oh crap" before he has already finished pulping you. So.
Yeah. All right, and we'll talk a little bit more about that breakdown though here in just a little bit, guys. So, do you want to run through the VO really quickly?
Sure. Let's see.
Juices?
He has a lot to say about juices and stuff. I guess the emotes and stuff. Or...
Yeah, the different emotes and everything would be great.
Sure.
So, like your jokes and your flirts and stuff like that.
Vex dreams of big kites, of fighting a red man in the sky.
I don't know if that can be heard really well.
Is it too quiet?
I don't know if it's too quiet.
Oh yeah, I'll get some zoom in and show some.
Oh yeah, zoom in as well. Yeah. All right, go ahead and do some more jokes and stuff like that.
Oops! Oh no!
Oh, what'd you do?
Nothing.
Oh, okay. Oh, actually, hold on. I need to turn the volume up a little bit.
Sure.
Here, let me. Can you Alt Tab for me? All right. I guess the sound was too low. Oh. Okay. That's not too low there. So just change the sound levels in game.
Oh sure.
Alrighty.
Change settings. Audio.
We're super professional, guys. There you go. That'll probably be good. Alrighty.
Yeah, funny.
Chew. This one is idle.
Sniffing. Want to play ball? Want to play ball? Oh, come on! Play ball! Yeah, Vex ate your mother. Was greasy.
What?
Shots fired.
Hashtag shots fired.
You smell tasty. Somewhere. Rub Vex's tummy?
Oh, there's like a timeout on him.
Oh.
Shoot.
Vex likes you. Bones, meat, juices.
Alright, so let's go over the abilities then.
Sure. So, I guess I just need to jump over to Parasite and find some targets. Okay, hi.
Hurt.
So, first ability is called Skewer. He summons a wave of spines, rips through the ground, damages anybody they pass through.
You may want to level yourself to 20, so it's
Oh, maxed out damage.
yeah. Did you guys like buy crazy amounts of items and everything like that too?
Oh, they did. I should probably You know what? I will actually come back and get items later because I want to
Okay.
show the discrepancy between Vex
think-
and then Vex with 6 items because
I
it
think
goes
that's great.
bonkers.
I think that's great.
So the big quirk of Skewer is that if it hits someone whose movement is impaired in any way, it will pierce them and reduce their armor by 15% for 5 seconds. And so that includes anything from slows, roots, stuns, fears, launches, doing the Harlem Shake. Whatever is impeding their movement whatsoever, they will become armor shredded.
Really? Harlem
Yes,
Shake.
that happened.
You should have just said twerking to be more
Sure.
more timely. But anyways, I digress.
So the important thing to Q, I'm actually going to skip the W for a second. The E has a natural setup for his Q, and that is called Jagged Volley. And as he fires all the spines in his back in a high arc, they come raining down, smack, and they get nice and stuck in people's heads. Anybody who walks through this area is slowed while they're in the area, and of course that means that if I fire that E, I should just turn off cooldowns. Fire that E, fire that Q, smack, lots of armor shred.
Okay.
And of course his basic attacks is lots of nasty spine shooting.
Ooh, that's a oops.
Oops, I forgot, turned off cooldown, so he's attacking way too fast.
Yeah, that's a little faster than he normally attacks.
Now you might notice every once in a while he fires that multi-shot. That is his W, which is called Grievous Wounds. The passive part is every third shot he will fire a multi-shot that does bonus magic damage based on the target's maximum health. That is disabled while it is active. The active or while it is on cooldown. The active portion is for 7 seconds. All of your attacks are grievous attacks, and so you will just absolutely pulp somebody.
So even without items, you're hitting a fully loaded Petrus there pretty darn hard.
Right. It's the bonus magic damage is doing a pretty decent chunk of his health. Now he does have fairly low defenses, just a decent amount of health. But
Okay.
yeah, it starts adding up real quick, and that has an extremely generous power ratio on it, which is why I said destruction is an incredibly valuable item for him, because that will quickly kick the damage that W from ow, that hurts pretty bad to oh god, why has it happened to my face?
Okay. So we have the Q, which is the damage and armor pierce.
Right.
If it's conditional, obviously.
Right.
The W, which is a passive and then a steroid as well. The E, which is a ranged PBAOE slow, which synergizes really well with this Q then. All right. And so what about this ult then?
So this ultimate is a good lesson in biology. Certain creatures will have certain behaviors that are good at telling you that this is a very dangerous creature you don't want to mess with. And so you ever see a creature like Vex do this, you should probably run, because he's about to do this.
Oh my. So what is describe this ability? What
This
is it?
ability is called Splintering Spines. Splintering Spines gives him a pretty substantial basic attack damage bonus for the next several seconds, and it makes all of his attacks shatter on the target, spreading shrapnel over a huge cone behind that target, doing damage to everybody in the arc behind it based on his base attack damage. It is not actually hitting basic attacks on any of those targets, so you're not going to trigger the same on-hit effects you would if you're doing basic attacks, but it does still do a hell of a lot of damage.
So I'm noticing a theme here with him. He does damage. Like,
He does damage. That is what he does.
He is a beast, literally, when it comes to like blowing stuff up.
Right.
I heard that laugh over there when I said beast. I'm gonna take credit for that. When it comes to just blowing stuff up, but I'm noticing something, and I know I saw a few other folks in the chat actually pointed it out. He doesn't seem to have any sort of like an escape or mobility type features.
He does not. His gameplay is going to rely on patience and carefully controlling your spacing. You're going to have to be this kind of eye of the storm thing, where you just carefully and meticulously moving around the fight, making sure you're always staying around range of everything, while also staying in range to use your abilities and attacks as often as you can.
Okay.
And so he gets a lot of utility to control spacing with that E ability. This is a very difficult ability at max rank to move through quickly, which gives you lots of time to reposition and find a better location to attack from. And of course, the threat of both the E plus the Q makes it very, very dangerous for someone to actually continue chasing you through it. Because if they're running through the E, you hit them with the Q, they're coming at you with armor shred against the highest DPS target in the game.
Okay.
Which is seems like a bad time.
It does seem like a bad time. So really quickly, you said you wanted to show the kind of discrepancy between fully kitted out Vex and just like a bare bones Vex, and so we're seeing decent damage there.
Yeah, pretty decent damage.
And then you trigger his W, and it goes up.
Yeah, and then I'll hit him with this and shred some armor and doing some more damage. Yay! It's pretty good.
So for him, I mean, it seems as though like Ruin would just be really a great choice.
Oh yeah, Ruin is really excellent. I think it's pretty much core in nearly any build. Like normally it's the kind of thing you would say like this is a pretty good choice against some higher health, high toughness targets, but it comes to the point he already does a good amount of percentage health damage.
Yeah.
You might as well just pick it up. It just gives him everything that he uses because he makes such excellent use of penetration, and then he loves getting the master because he's already you know a ranged DPS.
He wants that extra crit. So with the Fate pickup, does his bonus damage spread through the Fate as well?
His W's bonus damage will actually be propagated by Fate, so you'll be doing that percentage damage to everything that's getting hit by it.
Wow.
So
interesting.
The bodies will be hitting the floor.
Would you say that an additional solid choice, and I'm just saying this because this is what I usually build on him when I'm playing him, an additional solid choice just to play if you're playing a little bit more defensively or if you're not quite so confident with your capability to escape with 0 escapes, would something like an Insight?
Insight, I think, is also if Ruin wasn't there in that slot, I'd be putting Insight because if his only defense is distance, Insight is the only item that gives him more distance.
Right.
And so it lets him stay safer in pretty much every situation.
Okay. Well, speaking of range, how does his range compare to other range carries?
He is actually at the same range attack-wise. His E has pretty substantial range. It is actually a pretty long-range ability. You can hit people with it from a pretty good way out, or stop an advance before it happens from a good way out.
Okay.
Or when you're in the offense situation, chasing down some meat to make in, or some prey to make into meat, as he would term it, you can cut off escape routes pretty easily with it.
Juice bags.
Juice bags. So I love him. Beyond that, Pain is, surprise, surprise, a pretty good item on it, being that it is a huge source of both power and mastery, and if you have Fate, you'll also be able to propagate that anti-heal pretty easily. Of course, you'll be able to propagate that with everything he does, because Pain applies on all damage you deal.
But to say, even the PBAOE would still propagate that.
Yeah, everything he does is going to propagate it, but even before you start talking about the anti-heal part, it is already an absolutely insane amount of damage that he gets on there. So it can be a pretty good choice too, but that's a little greedy. Sometimes you want to go an even heavier haste build because, again, he scales really, really well with haste because he has so many on-hit effects that last a very short amount of time.
Right.
You could go something like Chaos and get the chain lightning thing going on, lots more haste.
Right, and a significant amount of mastery and additional movement speed, which is
of course great on him.
Exactly.
Beyond that, you can Life Drain is. It's going to be good on him. Life Drain is always pretty good on him. The thing is that because he has so much fewer options for creating distance between someone who's hitting him, his lifesteal, I personally feel like it does less for him because the odds that he's going to get hit and then get away and continue hitting someone from distance is lower than other characters. Varian is plunking away, and Petrus jumps on him, slam, 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 and knocks off half his health. He can blink away and auto attack up to get full. If that happens to Vex, then he basically has fingers crossed that he can burn down Petrus because he's not just going to walk away from Petrus.
No,
he can't blink away from Petrus. It's not an option.
It's not going to happen.
That's something you have to compensate for very heavily with his spells. I think that is the key to playing him is having 100% of your spells be focused on mobility to compensate for the lack of it on his kit.
Okay, that's very good advice. So we're not we can't show the spell menu right now since we're on the dev environment, but so things like Blink would be good. Blitz, I've actually found to be a very good choice.
Blitz really good on it. Even though it has a shorter window of immunity to disabling effects on ranged characters, it is enough.
Yes.
Especially late game when it's the 2 seconds of immunity is all you need to just vaporize somebody.
Yeah. I've played around with Stasis, and I'll let you go ahead and finish your item buys real quick so we can show them the damage. I played around with Stasis. I've actually found that it's not. I prefer getting Barrier to Stasis.
Right. Again, if distance is his only defense, and Stasis is a very powerful defense at the cost of giving up all positioning, because it gives the enemy 2 seconds they can position however they want, which is exactly what Vex cannot afford to do.
Yep. So. Guys, please, when you play Hunter, camp Vex his lane. Nice, Mars.
Somewhere.
Mars Cotterix. All right, so let's show the world what a fully functional. What a fully functional Battlestar can do.
First blood.
Ouch! What did you do?
Team has been annihilated.
What did you do? So Vex is incredibly capable of blowing himself the hell up, and just instantly killing him. Okay.
That was kind of funny.
You have slain an enemy.
Udo Big Troll. Alright.
Oh, should be noteworthy here that he has got 257 armor. He had 257 armor, 138 MR, 3,000 health, and I just made Swiss cheese out of it. Turn off your invincibility, you chump.
There we go.
There we go.
So you are like going up against other range carries. You are going to be pretty darn like you're going to melt them.
Yes.
That is the. Good job. Get the Omni.
Relentless.
You're getting the Omni. There we go. You can see how that
Fate helps a lot.
Yep. It definitely does. So I mean, Fate. I mean, even Fate combined with the ult together. I mean, that seems like it's just going to be ridiculous.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. There we go.
This is the part where you have a YouTube video of this, and it's playing like Drowning Pool or something in the background. You know, so
Outstanding.
Enemy team.
Hey, Calmlight, how you doing? Alrighty.
see that right there. That's him popping his W to where he was like he broke 300 armor there for a second. I'm still chunking pretty good. So.
And even at the same time, just like killing stuff behind.
Yeah.
Basically bringing Pluto down to 1/4 health.
The enemy team
but through kind
has
of
been annihilated.
The residual damage,
residual
the
damage,
fate, and everything else. And I didn't even have the ultimate turned on.
Exactly. So I mean, obviously this guy is just he is a Gatling gun. Like he is a walking turret.
Oh yeah.
But that is the downside. Like you have to be good with your positioning.
Mm-hmm.
You probably need to be a pretty decent orb walker, I would imagine.
Right. And see, this has been the probably second largest challenge after in designing him after the first one, which was just trying to find the right way to merge or find the right combination of like that character look with ranged DPS.
Right.
The second highest challenge is the fact that I am freaking terrible at ranged DPS.
Okay.
I am unbelievably bad at ranged DPS.
Would you say that you're not a range carry player?
I am not a ranged carry player.
Okay.
That's actually the sad part, is that I try to be, and then I just lose. I try to be a range carry player. I'm just not a range carry winner.
Oh, okay.
So that is a problem, which has made it to where like it has been baffling to me this process of trying to design a character that I recognize I am really, really bad at. And like I've gradually gotten better over the course of playing this, but it's mostly been like feedback from the other people in the team who are really good at range DPS, being like, yeah, this kit's great, it has all these interesting decisions in this nice, like, weak in the early game, but you can play around it and then get super powerful late game, whatever else. I'm like, I wouldn't know. I've never gotten there myself because I'm so bad. But
okay.
I am hoping to use my guy as the springboard to getting much better at it.
Okay.
But it has been a very interesting experience.
All right, so are you ready to take some questions?
Sure.
All right, we got about 15 minutes left, so we're gonna do a little bit of Q&A, guys. This is your chance to ask all the questions you want about Vex the Beast, our new ranged carry, who's just blowing shit up. Good lord. He does, and having played him in our playtest, guys, he hits hard. Like as long as you can farm well. Like that's one thing we didn't talk about actually, the role system. Like what roles do you suggest for Vex?
Vex really. We made a joke about Predator earlier. I think that would be a very, very risky thing to do. I would not recommend it at all.
The enemy team
he is because he has a lot of weakness early game because he is so dependent on items. The odds you're going to be able to reliably secure early kills to get that ramping advantage off of Predator is pretty low. So I would not recommend that. Gladiator is something he will be very good at, being that he has powerful basic attacks and very long range damage. It's one of the other perks of the Q. Even if you are not able to disable someone before you fire it, the Q is still very useful for securing last hits at very long range.
Okay.
It has substantially longer range than even my basic attacks. I think even with Insight, I'm maybe actually I want to see comparison. Like this is with Insight, I can hit this far away, and the Q still goes a little farther.
Nice.
So Gladiator, he can be relatively good at that, and especially if you have someone in your lane to help you just stay safe, like a Desecrator, a good choice. Rain, a great choice, to just make a wall between
a good zoning lane, maybe.
Right. So exactly, so that you can stay nice and safe and get all your stacks up. Similarly, because he has very long range in the abilities, yes, they have very long cooldowns. They're not super damaging. He can be successful as a tactician sometimes, because he can at least be hitting that. The what's called the bonus for damaging enemy shapers.
The harass bonus, yeah.
He can hit the harass bonus pretty reliably.
Yep.
Honestly, I haven't tried it in a really long time, and so it could be even better than I'm giving it credit for. I usually play it as Gladiator because it if Gladiator goes well, you will end up with a bigger chunk of change earlier, and that's what he needs to get rolling.
Okay. All right. So first question I'm going to actually take is going to be in regards to the roll system. If you can, it's from Dark Matter Gun 16. Can you play him as a jungler, and would he still be relevant with tanky items? So like maybe like a rampancy and a glory,
Right.
and then maybe like an inevitability or something along those lines.
Okay, I can't say it won't work because I have never actually tried it. I theorize that it probably would not, but at the same time, the reasoning behind that is not invalid. Because of the ready access he has to percentage damage from his W,
Right.
percentage health damage, and the fact that he's split damage physical and magic because the substantial magic comes from the W, it means that his damage can be okay,
Right.
even without items, but at the same time, his power is mostly in his scaling. And so you could maybe pull it off on a tankier build, but you would have to get really fed to compensate for the fact that you are not investing as heavily into power. He really needs heavy investment in power to like do really powerful damage.
So in other words, we need to have Scott Moore play jungle.
It's like
Vex this weekend.
Right, basically, he'd have to play. Yeah, if he plays Jungle Vex and has a completely bonkers early game, then maybe he could pull it off. But it would be very difficult.
All right. So there we go. Challenge issued, Scott Moore. Jungle Vex on the stream this weekend. All right, we're gonna do it.
I want to see it happen.
There we go. Bring in free kill jungle anything.
Right.
That's funny. I thought it was bring in Saint he'll jungle anything.
Yeah. I guess if nothing else, you can't get caught because if someone finds you at camp, you're like, oh no, wall of spikes, walk away.
Yep. So Milk Stout, by the way, guys, keep asking your questions. I will get to them. Milk Stout is asking, does the ultimate stack with his W activatable to targets hit by the shrapnel cone?
No, because the cone damage is not basic attacks. It will not apply his W. His W only applies to basic attacks. However, if he has a Fate, that will apply his W to everything that's hit by the Fate extra projectiles. Fate is the item that it's a large amount of haste, large amount of health, to anybody who doesn't know, and makes sure all of your attacks will fire shrapnel at 3 nearby targets.
Okay.
And so it does get crazy. It's why Fate is recommended item form. If you turn on the ultimate and you have Fate, you will both be hitting the primary target, hitting a cone behind him because of the ultimate, and then also hitting 3 targets in there again because of your Fate. And those hits will propagate your W, so damage get cray-cray real fast. Yeah.
All right. So let's see here. Can you mouse over the abilities while we're talking?
Sure.
Just so
It's a
people
good
can see
idea,
that.
so people can read it.
All right. So Dr. Sunshine is asking, so basically what you're saying is that Glass Cannon is kind of the best viable option for him.
I think so.
But it's also his greatest weakness, though.
Yes, of course. It is 100%. It's the kind of thing where, like, he scales so generously with power that you might be tempted, like, I can afford to send one spot in defense. But the returns for just building more firepower on him is so great that it is probably going to be the best way to play most of the time. I could see, and maybe someone who's better at it than me will discover it. It's like, okay, against certain characters, like maybe like Kendra, because she's so good at closing gaps instantaneously and doing massive burst, maybe you can justify getting a little bit more, something to save you from that initial burst. But I feel like the Glass Cannon is probably the best way to go on him. He has the unique advantage of, because he's all about maintaining distance and never getting close to anything ever, fights that he wins, he's typically never going to take damage in the first place, and so you can afford to go a lot less life drain than other ranged characters.
A bit of rules. This Shaper is an obvious Pokemon ripoff. Yeah, I mean, we've already established that. Totally Pikachu. It's
Clearly-
really more of a Raichu when you fire off the ult, right?
Yeah, clearly.
Clearly. What? No love for the Pikachu?
I mean, I was going to go like Feraligatr or something.
Feraligatr.
Feraligatr.
You guys and your newfangled Pokemons.
But
I only know the classics, sir. Anyways, let's see here. More questions, guys. Just build Rage when you play him tomorrow. Yeah, they're all like going, I want to see the percentage with Rage.
Rage is another really good item. It's why it's his other like main offensive suggestion, because again, he scales very, very well with penetration because of his powerful split damage, and so getting percent pen makes it to where there is just no hope whatsoever of withstanding his damage.
Okay. Let's see here. I want a plush Vex.
I do too.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that would just complete me. I need to have that.
Yeah, the spikes though. I'm thinking manufacturer. The spikes be expensive. Anyways, all right. Let's see. Oh, could you mouse over the next ability?
Oh, sure. I've been hovering over Skewer for like 5 minutes.
It's okay. So the Blue Muzzy, is that his max life without items?
That is actually 200 more than his actual minimum because Fate gives him like 200.
That's right, yeah.
So he is actually even lower than that. Fate is giving him 200 health, so we would actually have 1983.
1983, okay. Buell on Vex GG. Yes, that would probably be GBGG.
You have no idea. Oh, no, actually, no, that's
Richard.
Okay, yeah.
Hi, Richard.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Zach was pointing out, yes, that was the primary point of positive feedback that I got on Vex was Buell, because he is Farm Master Supreme, range carry aficionado, and there was one point several weeks ago, he came to me and said, you could put Vex on live right now and it'd be the only character I ever play. And I was like, I have no doubt. Yep. He just loved it to death, and he destroyed every game that he was in at it. And so if you see Buell and you see him playing Vex, just get out of the way. Yep. Just run from that. You're not going to touch it.
Keesis, I've answered a bunch of questions for me, man, before. The Blue Muzzy, how's he going to deal? What's he going to do when Cerulean comes for him? Sorry.
From my experience, both as Vex and as the Cerulean jumping on a Vex, he is going to pray. And he is going to... Oh, there we go.
Oh, there you go. Now you know.
Right. He's going to pray, and he is going to hope that he has enough damage to race Cerulean.
Yeah. If it's just him and Cerulean, he might actually, if it's late game, like he might actually be able to burn a Cerulean.
Okay, if it's him and Cerulean, odds are Cerulean will not instantly kill him, and then Vex will just annihilate him before his next ability comes off cooldown.
Yeah.
In a team fight scenario, if Cerulean jumps on you and flings you into his team, then yeah, you're just toast.
Yeah.
Unless you have like a blink up as your last minute and Hail Mary, get out of there.
Exactly. Okay. Seriously, I think Cerulean will destroy him, as will Petrus if he punches him to the back into the fight. Well, yeah, obviously.
Right.
If you get a good Petrus punch off on a guy that has 0 mobility, unless he's got cooldowns up for blink and stuff like that, he's toast.
And so the key there, though, is to recognize that it is not a flaw of the character that he dies when he is flung. It is a mistake in the first place to get in a situation in which you could have been flung.
Yep.
If you were in a situation where you're always wondering, like, oh, what am I going to do if Cerulean, flings me or Petrus jumps on me? You've already made a mistake because you should have been that close to begin with.
Yep. So guys, yeah, and that is one thing to point out. It's like, this type of character, while he's not forgiving, this rewards tactical gameplay.
Yes.
This rewards, people who are experts in positioning and who understand, where they're supposed to be at different points in the fight.
Right.
And that's actually why I've been playing him, because I'm trying to force myself to learn better positioning.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm kind of in the same boat. Even on top of my shortcomings as a range carry player, this is one of the most difficult characters to play in the game very well.
Yeah.
Because you have to be thinking about how the battle is going to unfold a long time in advance compared to other characters. He does not have abilities that allow him to rapidly adapt to sudden changes, and so you have to be accounting for a myriad of possibilities every time.
That's right. Let's see here. What if Cerulean blinks and ults? It's hard to calculate that positioning. Well, yeah, there's always going to be extreme circumstances. Cerulean blowing, a blink, an ult, and more than likely like a barrier or something along those lines.
See,
or blitz even.
In that situation, the key there is that if he does go that far to jump on you, the odds that he is going to fling you anywhere near the rest of his team is actually relatively low. Like, if you think about it, if you were both standing at reasonable distances, and he covers, like, the 3 miles that a Blink plus Ultimate covers, you're going to end up, like, okay, you're behind Cerulean, and Cerulean is now, like, 3 miles from the rest of his team.
I'm about to say, like, if Cerulean blinks and ults, he's basically, and flips, like, the flip, if you're positioned properly, the flip is basically going to land you in the middle of your team. And by then, Cerulean's blitz will have worn off, he'll be stunned, and your team should...
You will have a few seconds to throw your E to block the incoming team, run like hell, and then burn down Cerulean before the rest of the team shows up.
Yeah. Nodaru, that item, Sunfire Cape wishes it was that item. Sorry, he's talking about Glory.
I imagine.
Oh, look, it's Sunfire Cape. No. It's like Sunfire Cape's bigger, meaner brother, to be honest with you.
That item, I just love it to death.
Yes. Why have you not bought Rage yet? Okay, Crisis, I get it. Yes, Whoopi Knocker, we do give out beta keys. We're giving out beta keys right now. Let's see here. They want to know if you can turn off God mode and just like 1v1 Cerulean real quick.
Oh, all right. Let's see here. I am off God mode. Let's meet at the Parasite.
Meet me out back, yo.
Let's see if my positioning is main enough to handle this.
Pluto, go away.
Pluto, go away.
Pluto, go away.
All right. Let's do this.
Alrighty, guys. good ward blocking. Nice. Almost.
See, my mistake there, again, because I'm bad, is I use my abilities. And late game, if you're using it in a situation where you could just be shooting, unless you just like have to have that E to live, that was a mistake. And if I just spent the like second and a half of shooting instead, I probably would have killed him.
Okay. That was pretty close, though. I mean, like for a guy who's self-professed not a great range carry player, that was really good though. And so it shows.
So. Because like that is the thing right there. And it's one of the things, the design that I actually like the most is that compared to most of the characters, the other range DPS. Oh yeah, I should have used
your ult.
See, that's the thing, is that it is the ultimate. Even though it is mostly team focused, it does add a very large amount of base damage. If I had done it, it would have improved my damage by a lot, and I should have just done that.
Okay.
Another brain fart on my part, but
it's all right.
Is one of the things I like the most about where the design ended up compared to is it just sets him apart the other characters in that the other DPS characters, their abilities are very useful in and of themselves. Like Michaela is a great setup, it's great for defense, but it's great for just a poke. The ability does pretty darn good damage by itself. Likewise, Varian does pretty good damage by itself, and Nissa's Q is good for harassment. All those abilities. Vex's abilities actually have pretty low damage all around. They don't actually do very much damage by themselves. The key is they're all utility, and they all do things that point towards your basic attack. The E says you slow things so you can attack them more. The Q says I do okay damage, but I shred armor so you can attack them more. The ultimate says attack like crazy. What are you doing? The W says the same thing. And so everything comes back to point towards doing that basic attack as much as humanly possible.
Yep. So a couple more questions, and then I got a couple of things I need to cover before we cut away for lunch, because it's almost lunchtime. Does he have interactions with other shapers in the game?
Yes, as a matter of fact.
Petrus, I imagine.
He has some unpleasant banter with Petrus. He's not very fond of Petrus, as you might imagine.
I would imagine so. Yeah.
Stewing up those juices in his head.
Yes.
He has interaction with Classified, and he has one little interaction with Kel, but we'll wait till someone figures that one out. It's a little more subtle.
Okay, all right, I get it. All right, cool. And then I think we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna make that the last question too. So
okay,
really quickly, guys. So first off, thank you, Scott, for coming on the stream and showing off Vex.
Very much glad to be here.
He will be playable with the next patch. So just so you guys are aware,
has been
whether that's this week or not, I can't say just yet. By the way, I want to let you guys know we do have beta starting tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. And it's going to go straight through to Sunday at midnight. So 11:59 p.m. Sunday. There you go, guys. There's your rage. There's your rage. You gonna get him? Oh, good lord!
There we go. So when I just stop an attack and I buy that rage, then
and use your ult.
Right, and that is also with no life drain, which is good to also point out. My health did not go up in the course of that fight, aside from my base minimal regen.
That's pretty good. Pretty good.
Yep.
Good stuff. All right. So beta starts tomorrow at 9 a.m. Goes till Sunday at midnight. Also, we are going to be introducing the Shaper rotation this week. So that is important to know, guys. Remember, if you did not check out the VOD of the monetization stream from Laura Mae Brown last week, you should check it out. It covered what's going to be happening. Everybody will start off with 350. I think it was 350 Destiny points, or Destiny, not Destiny points, excuse me, just Destiny, 350 Destiny, and then you'll be able to earn 50 per game, and then the Shapers will cost 240, and we'll have a post up about this later on today. But just to remind everybody, we are going to be starting that this week, the Shaper rotation. So the first rotation will be posted later on today with a news announcement, and yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Your binding
has been destroyed. All right, guys. So, thank you very much to Scott again for stopping by and sharing Vex with us.
Thank you for having me.
Hold on a second. Sorry. All right, guys. So, thank you very much for swinging by, guys. Thanks for joining us for the community catch-up, guys. We will be online tomorrow at noon. We'll be live streaming from noon till 6 tomorrow, like our normal times. And we'll be giving away keys and playing some games. And we'll see. Maybe you'll have a chance to play Vex then.
Yeah.
Should be fun. All right, guys. So thank you again for tuning in. And we'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Peace.
I got to press buttons. Right. Hold on. I think it's this one.